What stands out to you about Michael Penix?
Yeah, he can sling it. I think you go back and watch just the accuracy down the field, throwing the ball down the field, puts it in places receivers can catch it. We're going to have to do a good job making sure we defend the deep part of the field because I think he's going to take his chances throwing it, launching it. But he's got a really strong arm, good accuracy, and I would say specifically on the deep ball.
Nobody wants to make excuses, obviously, Shane, but with a lot of blown coverages last week, is that guy still trying to learn each other and what they're trying to do? I mean, you're playing so many guys off practice squads and
yeah. I mean, I think it was more just our execution. Like we got to be better executing and can't let guys free and got to make sure we're deep when we need to be deep and on the right guys at the right time. So just didn't execute well enough in some of those situations.
Going back to Penix, Dable told us yesterday that he was studying some of his old film from Washington. Do you kind of have to do that because he's only thrown so few passes in his career so far?
Yeah, I mean, you got the preseason game, Miami. You got a little bit. He had I don't even know how many passes against Denver there late in the game, and that's really what you got to go off of, right? So go back, watch Washington, try to get a feel for him, see his strengths. Hopefully, you can find some weaknesses, which is hard to do. I mean, 8th overall draft pick. So you got to go back and try to study the player that way, and that's where the biggest body of work is.
Does the left-handed quarterback present any special issues?
No, not really to us. I mean, other than matching the hand and making sure when we're free or we're able to get some pressure, just kind of switch hands in terms of which one's going up to see if we can create some batted ball opportunities there. And then whatever they have, if there's some mobility stuff, that's always something we look at, right-hand quarterback, left-hand quarterback, on some of those move the pocket type passes is something we evaluate.
In college, he wasn't afraid to run. Is that part of the scenario too?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's like Lamar, right? Like, I don't think they're going to be doing all that with him. But he can run. I mean, if there's space, he's going to take off. He's going to be able to gain some yards. So got to do a good job. Can't give him big rush lanes down the middle for him to take and make it inviting for him. Because there's obviously a little bit more mobility than what they had there previously. So something we got to be good, be coordinated, make sure we're on the same page, and not give him any inviting seams.
Big picture, you've had a lot this year, right? The run defense, I'm sure, was something that bothered you on and off throughout the year. A lot of guys in and out. How big a challenge has it been to keep everybody engaged, to keep everybody sort of in line, maybe in comparison to what you dealt with the past few years?
Yeah, I think the guys have been good. I do. I think they come in every day. They're attentive in meetings. They come out and walk through and go through. I think part of that, when you have some of the moving parts, there is a heightened focus, right? You got some new blood in there, so to speak, and the communication, everything's got to kind of increase a little bit. So there's got to be a heightened level of focus when there are.
From you or from their perspective?
From their perspective, right? And again, it's the NFL. Like, and I know it sounds like a broken record saying it, but like when I was in Tennessee, we kind of had the same things in terms of injuries and some of that stuff where you're kind of working through that as you go.
That's why I was kind of curious, like how it kind of related to, especially that last year you had in Tennessee.
Yeah, and I think it's just something you gotta have a plan for, like having new guys in, being able to play. I mean, last week, I don't know if we went to a game with one corner that was here in training camp. Like we signed a Dory post training camp, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of reps that are missed that guys are kind of learning on the fly. And I mean, you rely on your veterans, you rely on the leadership, you rely on their teammates to help that as well, especially in terms of fitting into the culture and what that is, the expectation level. But it's just something you got to work through. You got to have a plan for. I think our coaching staff does a great job. I think Roman, those guys do a good job trying to prepare them. Dre, trying to prepare them to get ready to go, and hopefully we can execute at a little bit higher level than what we did last week.
You mentioned that about the cornerbacks. I'm curious, how beneficial do you think it would have been to have a veteran cornerback from, like in the summer? And do you think that was something that maybe in retrospect you guys were missing?
I mean, not I mean, nobody can really predict the injury aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, in that regard, I would say no, like just not knowing. And again, I'm glad we got Adoree. Like Adoree's played well for us, and I think Adoree's had a good year for us, and he's been a good presence for us in that room too. So I think that's been a really good add for us.
You're using a whole new defensive line. Anybody in that group that's really been sticking out to you the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think Chad's done a really good job. I mean, increasing his workload on early downs. I mean, there's some teach tape clips of him in the run game, fundamentally getting off the ball, striking, where he's done a really good job being disruptive for us. I think Garcia's showing up, like his length is showing up. He made the play on Derek down in the red zone last week where he's able to get off the block and tackle Derek. Really, all those guys have stepped up. I think Jordan's improved, right, from the time he had a little bit earlier in the year to now and getting more reps and more practice. I think as a group, that unit has done a good job of taking advantage of their opportunities for the most part.
Yeah.
One of the storylines for this game outside is the Giants trying to avoid what would be their franchise-long losing streak. Is that something that you can use to players as a rallying cry, as a source of pride? Hey, we don't want to be that team, or is that something you don't want to even bring up with them?
Yeah, I mean, we need to win. Bottom line, like, find whatever we got to do to win a game, regardless of the circumstances. Like every week, let's do everything we can to prepare and be ready to go. And come Sunday, we got to execute and find a way to win a game. So let's make sure we're focused on today. Whatever we can do today that can contribute to us winning on Sunday, and do the same thing tomorrow and go that route. Like that's the message. Is let's take advantage of every minute we can right now to prepare and put our best foot forward come Sunday.
Let's take two more.
With Burns, obviously, this is the way he's been playing this whole year. How much has he impressed you this first season? Just not just being a great player, but also a leader with this young group with so many guys hurt. Just seeing how much he continues to go hard every game. Is that kind of a good lesson for them a little bit?
Absolutely, I do. I think he's. I wouldn't say he's our most vocal leader by any means, but I think he's really good at kind of grabbing guys one-on-one and being in guys' ears one-on-one and addressing things that way. And we're young, and any veteran presence you can have when you're a young defense is helpful, right? Whether it's OLB to DB, OLB to inside backer, OLB to D-line, I think it's helpful. And the thing to say about him, like he's been dealing with stuff throughout the year, and he goes out there and plays, right? Like, I mean, there's Wednesdays or Thursdays we're not so sure, and then he's out there Sunday flying around, putting everything on the table, and that's what the NFL is. Like there's 100% injury rate, 100%. Everybody's going to be banged up at some point. It's just being able to go out there and execute and play week in and week out and fight through some things that are kind of nagging throughout.
One of your old boss, who I assume you're still close with, Vrabel, is out of the league right now. Have you been in touch with him much? Like, has he helped you, like, as you're looking for answers?
I talked to him when we played.
I'm not asking about his play. I'm saying, like, has he been a resource for you?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to him after we played the Browns, and that's really much it. Like, I mean, we stay in touch. Our wives talk, obviously, but I mean, we're so consumed. He's so consumed with what's going on. It's really beyond that. There ain't a whole lot of catching up with people outside of this building during football season.